Hello everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to ChasingCinema.com's official YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jacob Tiranno, and today I'm going to be recapping the Paramount presentation at CinemaCon 2017. Just in case you have not, click that wide eye, you can see my recap of the Disney presentation, of the XTX presentation, as well as the Sony presentation at this year's CinemaCon. We're doing so much CinemaCon coverage. Follow me at Jacob Tiranno on Twitter and Instagram for photos, for updates. I live tweet during the presentations, so don't miss anything that I'm doing at CinemaCon if you just follow me right here. Now, the Paramount presentation was an interesting one. I think the most interesting of the presentation so far, of the four that have happened, Paramount had a kind of a weird vibe. And I don't mean it was bad, but things just didn't all really work in favor. Now, Elizabeth Frank of AMC opened up the event by taking the stage and talking with the COO and president of Worldwide Cinema, Real D, Travis Reed, and they were talking about all these great things that they have working to really present, again, CinemaCon being the the official convention of the National Association of Theater Owners, what they're doing to make the cinematic experience better for moviegoers. Then Megan Coulion, president of Worldwide Marketing and Distribution for Paramount, took the stage, and all of a sudden, she introduced an insane amount of lifeguards, right? We had the whistles going and everything, and all of a sudden, just a bunch of lifeguards took the stage. Then The Rock had appeared. He was there yesterday as well at the Sony Experience. You could click that wide eye again and watch that video. He had the mic on the side of his face. He can't hold the mic. He's just celebrating with the crowd, screaming, getting everyone all riled up. Takes the stage with all these lifeguards. And it was funny, for some reason Paramount had a DJ, and the DJ was kind of hosting with the event. And the DJ started reading The Rock's dialogue from the prompter, and The Rock kind of cut him off and told him to start again while he was introducing other members of the Baywatch movie, because they're here to talk about Baywatch. And then it just kind of set everything off, and the Baywatch crew, all of them, were never really able to kind of get back on track or gel. The Rock manhandles a stage. He knows how to control a crowd and handle it. But even tonight, even him, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson himself, was stumbling over words. They were landing jokes that the other actors and performers weren't really sure where to go with. It was just kind of a weird vibe. But Zac Efron came out last, and he got a big roar from the crowd. Was explaining that being Baywatch is an attitude, and it's about being the best you can be. And that's when Team Baywatch, as they call themselves, announced that they're doing a contest for movie theaters. They're doing a ticket launch to see what theaters can sell the most tickets. And it's just like, okay, now they're talking about the movie, they're making jokes. Oh, we're going to talk about this, promotional campaign for movie theaters. We're laughing, we're joking, and then they finally introduced the Baywatch trailer that they had rated FU for unbelievable. And it was the trailer that most of us are kind of familiar with, a little bit more vulgarity thrown in, and then there was a clip at the end where they got pretty graphic in a morgue. Not the one that you've kind of seen already, but there was one that had to do with, of course, a man's privates. And it just was like, okay, this is really weird. How did we get here? But the crowd honestly seemed kind of into it, so I might be the only one that felt it was that weird and awkward. But nonetheless, that is how I felt. It did get a huge reaction from the crowd, like I said. And then we went from, a comedy where The Rock and Zac Efron are joking about a man's genitalia, all the way to moving forward with an inconvenient sequel, Truth to Power, where they teased a clip of this sequel documentary, obviously a sequel to An Inconvenient Truth, and then introduced former Vice President Al Gore to get on stage. And he did, and he talked about the importance of, climate change, and importance of why he's making this movie, and he wants to open up people's eyes. And the trailer looked quite good. Obviously not, it was going to feel that way, but it kind of was a very weird tone, but Al Gore got a pretty good reaction. Moving on was easily one of the highlights of of the event. And I mean, I'm still kind of in amazement because this little scene that we got from a movie called Annihilation, which stars Natalie Portman and Oscar Isaac, just looks so great, so intense, but so elegantly shot. I was just wowed. And no one was there for this film. It was just kind of like an in-between slide. They were like, all right, here's a quick little first look at this movie. And this was the one that stood out. And I keep thinking about hours after, I'm thinking about Annihilation. Following them, Matt Damon and George Clooney took the stage to introduce a trailer for their film, Suburbicon. They also introduced Julianne Moore to help them introduce the trailer. And a really quick moment that I got a big kick out of, because George Clooney was the director of this film. He asked Matt Damon, how does it feel to be directed by Batman? And Matt Damon was like, oh, wow, I for a second thought, I forgot you played Batman. There was a nice little joke. Definitely, again, a movie that I'm looking forward to. Didn't completely jump out post Annihilation into the film. I'm going to be talking about it in a minute, but definitely looks good. Then we talked a little bit about Mission Impossible 6, which is going to star Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill. We also saw a clip of Action Point, which is a Jackass production, or I believe their production company is called, I'm not sure, but it's a Johnny Knoxville movie about an amusement park. And the clip that we saw is Johnny Knoxville getting knocked out cold. I mean, they made the clip for CinemaCon, and he got knocked out cold trying to do a stunt. But that movie's going to open up March 23rd, 2018. They then invited Nickelodeon to the Paramount presentation, and they were talking about how they were going to be collaborating with Nickelodeon to do some animated films like The Amusement Park, or I'm sorry, just Amusement Park. And after the movie Amusement Park is made, Nickelodeon will launch a TV series to follow it. And the new SpongeBob film is also set in 2019. Then Matt Damon came back on stage to talk about his film Downsizing, which is directed by Alexander Payne, and come to find out was written by the Coen brothers, and they were going to allow us to watch 10 minutes of the film. And wow, I thought this movie was also really funny and like this movie and Annihilation were definitely the highlights for me. I mean, it just looked funny. I was just super intrigued by it. It looks like a very offbeat comedy that is talking about something quite silly, and then just seeing it unfold, you're like, wow, this is kind of a really cool world that I want to explore more. Last but not least, Michael Bay and the Michael Bay. Michael Bay and the cast of Michael Bay's Transformers: The Last Knight took the stage, which included Anthony Hopkins, Mark Wahlberg, and Michael Bay explained this was kind of a fresh start for the franchise. And Sir Anthony Hopkins was just kind of cracking everyone up. He was really just working the crowd, getting everyone really excited about this movie, and was kind of talking about the difference of American ideology when it comes to film and a British ideology. And Michael Bay was really proud, but then towards the end of this little conversation, he introduced some fresh pieces of footage from Transformers: Last Night. Now, what I thought, and which most of us expected, was like a 3 to 5 minute clip. Instead, and Michael Bay had just said, oh, I don't want to spoil anything. I didn't want to go off and tell you guys what's going on, so I know context isn't great. It was like they just started plucking scenes out of the movie, and they ended up plucking what felt like 15, 20 minutes of just scenes that would end, and you'd be like, oh, that was the ending of it. And then they'd play another scene, and you're like, oh, okay. And then another scene, and another scene. I mean, at least 5 scenes that I could specifically remember, had a dramatic ending, went black, pulled up a new scene, and I was just like, okay. And to be honest, none of it really blew me away. I've not been a big Transformers fan in any of the versions, and this one did not look particularly good either. But, Michael Bay saying this is a fresh start. It's the first film shot on IMAX cameras to create a 3D experience. I really hope that this movie's good, but nothing blew me away here. And that was the wrap for the Paramount presentation. If you have any questions about the presentation, let me know down here in the comment sections below. Again, if you missed my recap of the STX, Disney, or Sony presentations, click that white eye. Bunch of links drop down. Also, I'll be covering Universal, I'll be covering 20th Century Fox, all these other Warner Brothers, all these presentations coming up at CinemaCon. Just hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video. I'll also be having a lot of interviews coming towards the end of the week. Don't miss CinemaCon week. Also follow me at Jacob Tiranno on Twitter and Instagram to see what I'm live tweeting. I live tweet the presentations. I'm tweeting about everything going on at CinemaCon. I'm taking photos. I want you guys to feel that experience with me, so make sure to do that. If that's it, slap a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jacob Tiranno, and please continue chasing cinema.